just gonna work themselves out. Sometimes you have to get aggressive. You have to get violent.
Amen.
You got to get violent sometimes, especially when it comes to your walk with God.
Amen.
See, this is what Peter says. Peter says you have to be sober. He says you have to be vigilant. Vigilant isn't a passive word. It's not a soft word. He says you got to be on guard. Why? He says because the enemy is come walking to and fro, to and fro, to and fro, seeking who he may devour. And if you just sit down on your worship, he's seeking you. If you just sit there and like, God, I'm just waiting on God, he's seeking you. We talked last week about waiting. In your time of waiting, you still have to do something. Waiting is an action word. Waiting is still an action word. In your time of waiting, it's still something you have to do. You got to prepare the atmosphere for God to show up. You got to produce an atmosphere for God to show up. You got to produce that atmosphere. You got to produce the situation, as the man talked about, as that seed to bring about a harvest. If you don't plant anything, you can pray, you can fast, you can do all you want. You'll never reap a harvest. You got to sow something.
All right.
You got to put it in the ground. And if you can reap a harvest without sowing a seed, please tell me.
All right.
Please tell me. I need to know. I'm stirred today because I just feel, I just see we can't get dormant. We cannot get comfortable and complacent with that's just God. I'm just going to church. We cannot do that. We can't just get complacent with saying it's just God. Because if you do, you don't really have expectations. You don't really have an expectancy. But that's just God. We hear it all the time, even in marriages or on our job. We say things like, that's just how it is. That's just how she is. That's just how he is. And you know what that's saying? You don't have any expectations for change. You don't have any expectations for anything different. You don't have an expectation for a different outcome. That's just what it is. If that's just what it is, that's just what it is. You're absolutely right. That's just what it is. But when you begin to call those things that are not as though they are, that's when change begins to happen. Because you are expecting a different outcome. No matter what that situation is, you're saying, hey, if there's a chair, I call it a table. You're expecting that chair to change into a table. So it's not what that is what it is. It's what you say it is. When you begin to call that thing into existence, that means, Lord, I'm believing you for a different, I'm expecting you for something.
Yes.
Like the man of God talked about, when you got more bills than money. And you begin to say, Lord, I'm being obedient. I'm sowing this seed. I'm expecting the harvest. Lord, I know my situation is crazy. I don't see a way out. But I'm going into the house of the Lord today, and I'm going to worship you. I'm going to praise you. I'm going to give you everything I got because I'm expecting something different. If you came in here just to come in here today and just to be counted on the road, I ain't telling you to leave, but I am saying you're going to leave out the same way you came in. You got to expect something different.
Amen. That's right. That's right.
You got to expect something different. If you just asking God just for enough to pay your bills, you're gonna be in the same situation next month. I'm asking God to give me enough to pay my bills and somebody else's.
All right. Yes. Okay. Yes.
He's the God of abundance.
Oh, yes, He is. Thank you, Father.
Reminded of the man in the Bible, or the prophet in the Bible, when he go tells the king, he said, shoot the arrow, shoot the arrow, shoot the arrow.
Yeah.
He only shot it enough time for his enemies to be destroyed. And the man of God says, why didn't you keep shooting it?
Amen.
Why didn't you shoot it more? Why didn't you shoot him? Well, he says you could have destroyed. Not only could you have defeated them, but you could have destroyed them.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So I ain't asking God for just enough. I'm asking Him for the abundance, the overflow.
The overflow.
I want to pay my bills. I want to pay my house off, pay everything off, and somebody else's.
Yeah.
So you got to expect more. You got to expect change before you can see change.
Yes.
You got to expect your situation to be different before it can be different.
Yes.
James said this. James 1 says, he says, anybody that asks anything of the Lord, and then you go back and have a doubt, he says, you're unstable.
Wow.
You crazy.
Wow.
If you think you're going to receive anything of the Lord.
Good.
Yeah, that's what he said. He didn't call you crazy, but he did say you crazy.
Yeah.
He says you are unstable. He said it in a nice way.
Yeah.
He said it in that way that you would go see a psychologist or whatever. They don't want to call you crazy, but you're crazy. They begin to tell you things like you're a little bit unstable.
Yes.
And they say you the only one in the room. They say you begin to say things like somebody else sitting beside you, and it's two of y'all. You crazy. That's what James said. You unstable. You are unstable. If you praying about stuff, but you don't have a different expectation, I'm here to tell you, if you praying about it, and then you still saying stuff like it is what it is, you are unstable.
Wow. That's good.
It doesn't matter what it looks like.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if you got more bills than money.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if he crazy, if she crazy, and she keep doing the same thing over and over, he keep doing the same thing over and over. You still gotta expect different.
That's right.
You begin to treat them like they tens.
Amen.
Treat him like he's a king. Treat her like she's a queen.
Good.
You begin to put those type of expectations on people, eventually they will want to live up to it.
All right.
But if you begin to satisfy that spirit and begin to just give in to it, that's just exactly what it's going to be. That's exactly what it's going to be. You speak life into that situation.
Yes.
You speak life into it. You encourage them. Speak life.
Speak life.
When Jesus raised up Lazarus, he spoke life into it. You got to speak life into every dormant situation.
Yes, Lord.
That was a horrible situation. To man, that was an uncurable situation. It was no saving him. He was already dead.
Already did. Yeah.
Matter of fact, scripture says he was dead to the point where he stank. That means he's been dead for a minute.
Yeah.
So you got to speak life into that situation. We're talking about unwavering faith. Unwavering faith. We've been talking the last couple of weeks. We took talking about don't quit. You come too far to quit, and you're too close to give up. And then we talked about 3 things that you can always count on for God. He's dependable, He's predictable, and with God there's no variables. He's dependable, He's predictable, and with God there's no variables. If He said it, then it's true. If this is what His word said it will produce, that's what it will produce.
That's right.
With man, there's always different possible outcomes with man. Always. But with God, you can always count on it being predictable, dependable, and there's no variable. Prophetess Pastor Derrick got up and talked about being a game changer. Last week we talked about what to do when you don't know what to do. What to do when you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What to do when you don't know what to do. And this week I briefly want to speak on unwavering faith. Unwavering faith. 2 scriptures I want to give you rather quickly. James 1, we just talked about James 1. I want to read verse 1 through 7. Verse 1 begins like this. It says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Verse 2, it says, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. I want to read that one again. I want you guys to look at it and read it as well, because I don't want you guys to think I'm making this up. It says, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. How many of you know that's a challenge?
Yes.
James is saying count it all joy when your bank account is negative. Count it all joy when your marriage is in shambles.
Yeah.
Count it all joy when you're going through strife, contentions, warfare. When somebody has gossip on you, James says, count it all joy. When you've been attacked in your body, James says, count it all joy. You fill in the blank. Whatever it is that is challenging you, James says, count it all joy.
Yeah.
Verse 3. He says, knowing that the testing of your faith, the testing of your faith produces patience. So it's just, James said it's just a test. Y'all tracking with me? Y'all tracking with me? James said it's just a test. It's just a test. I need you to get that. Now, I want you to get whatever the challenge is right now, because all of you have one.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you can come and get this mic. So this is what I need you to conjure up the challenge. I need you to think about the challenge right now. You ain't got to tell me. I want you to picture business industry, but I want you to get in your mind. What's the challenge? Now do this. Tell the challenge. It's just a test. You just a test. It's just a test. It's just a test.
Yeah.
It's just a test. It's just a test.
Yeah.
Verse 4, it says this. Verse 4 says this. It says, but let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. And we know that the word perfect, that doesn't mean flawless. It simply means mature. It simply means mature. And it says complete. Lacking nothing. Verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally or freely without reproach, and it will be given unto you. So if you lacking wisdom, James says, just ask for it.
Yes.
Just ask for it.
Yes.
Here's what wisdom does. Wisdom will give you the knowledge and ability what to do in a situation.
Amen.
That's what wisdom does. Scripture tells us to seek godly counsel. We talked about this. Seek godly counsel. Godly counsel, not opinions. And most of the times we get into a situation, you want to talk to your homeboy or your homegirl or somebody or put a gossip meal. And so we get opinions.
Yeah.
We get opinions. We talked about how most time opinions are formed out of ignorance.
Yeah.
Most time opinions are formed out of ignorance. Opinions most of the time are formed with a lack of knowledge of a situation.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's what opinions are formed out of. I don't know about a situation. I don't know all of it, so I'll just assume this about it.
Right. Right.
And that's what we get a lot of times when we seeking advice.
Amen.
We seek advice and we get an opinion. But God says, hey, get godly counsel. Get godly counsel. Verse 6 says, but let him ask in faith. In faith. Somebody say in faith. In faith with no what?
Doubting.
With no what?
Doubting.
With no what?
Doubting.
For heated doubt is like a wave of the sea driven and tossed by the wind. Verse 7. For let that man suppose that he will receive all things. I'm sorry. For let not that man suppose that he will receive
Anything.
all things.
Anything.
All things.
Anything.
Oh, that says he won't receive anything.
You won't receive anything.
Anything
Amen.
from the Lord.
Wow.
That's good.
So he says that when you ask in faith without a shadow of a doubt that it's going to come to pass.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. This is me talking. As Paul said, this is not the Lord, but this is me. So from this, I'm just going to say, if you ask and in doubt, save your breath. Because it's not going to happen.
Wow. That's good.
So he says, hey, no doubting. That's unwavering faith. That's unwavering faith. That's unwavering faith. One more verse rather quickly. Amos 3:3. Powerful one. I love this. We can solve up unwavering faith with this one right here. I love this one. Amos 3:3. It says, he starts out asking a question. He says, can two walk together unless they are agreed? Can two walk together unless they agree? That's what Amos said. Now I want to ask you a question. Can faith and doubt walk together?
All right.
Can faith and doubt walk together? Faith and doubt cannot walk together. They cannot walk together hand in hand. Faith and doubt cannot walk together. They do not agree. They don't agree.
That's right. That's right.
Are y'all getting this?
Yes.
Faith and doubt do not agree.
Don't agree.
They are always at contentious with each other. They are always fighting each other. I said this last week how where you are and the promises of God are always at disagreement. Where you are and the promises of God are always at disagreement. Because where you are, it doesn't look like the promises of God.
Yeah.
Where you are, it doesn't look like you're a millionaire. Where you are, it doesn't look like you got this kingdom marriage that God promised you. Where you are, it doesn't look like you may speak to millions. So where you are and the promises of God will always be at disagreement. Because God says, hey, right here, you got to trust me. God gives you a glimpse and then brings you back to reality and says, now you got to walk this thing out.
Yes.
Now I got to, it's just a test.
It's just a test.
It's just a test. From where you are to the promise, right here, it's just a test. It's just a test. When God gave the children of Israel, they were in bondage. When God made them the promise that they would walk in the land flowing with milk and honey, a land flowing with unending resources, they were in bondage.
Yeah.
Amen.
Y'all with me?
Amen.
They were in bondage. Where they were, it didn't look like the promise.
Right.
It didn't look like the promise. And the test was right here. They had to go through the test to get to the promise. That's what some of us are right now. We are right in the middle of a storm. We almost like the little leprechaun. Y'all know how after the storms you see the rainbow. You got this storm, and then at the end of the rainbow is a pot of gold. It's the test is right here. You right in the middle of your storm. And people speaking in your lives and say you're going to be a millionaire. People speaking in your lives and say you're going to testify to many about the goodness of God, how God delivered you from the storms and trials of your marriage. And you got this godly marriage and all these things. And you right in the middle of a storm.
Yeah.
It's just a test. And during this time of testing, your faith cannot waver.
That's right.
Okay, I give you 2 seconds. Maybe 2 seconds. Maybe it can waver for about 2 seconds. Then you got to grab hold to it.
Yes. Check it.
You got to check it. It's just a test. It's just a test to produce patience, to produce the maturity. For you to be able to meet up with the promise and be all that God has called you to be, it's just a test. It is just a test. Some of you are ready to throw in the towel. But I just want to submit to you that every challenge is an opportune turn inside backwards, turn inside out.
Amen.
Every challenge, every situation, every shortcoming, it's just an opportunity to turn inside out.
Wow. Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just a test. It's an opportunity to turn inside out. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's just a test. It's part of the process. It's part of that growth process. It is just a test. And a lot of times we wish and pray that situation would change and just leave. But God says, no, it's just a test.
Yes.
It is just a test.
Yes.
So sometimes we get mad and frustrated when God don't remove that things from us. So sometimes you got to look at your prayer life. You got to begin to look at it and say, okay, Lord, if you ain't changing, if you ain't taking this situation from me, let me be better so I can handle this situation.
Amen.
Yes.
Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better.
Wow.
Don't wish you were easier. Wish you were better. Paul, the great apostle Paul, who wrote a third of the New Testament, had this same prayer. He had the same prayer in 2 Corinthians 12. Paul said, Lord, he said, take this from me.
Yes.
He goes to the Lord again a second time and said, Lord, take this from me. The great apostle Paul who went into the third heaven and seen revelations that no man has ever seen. Paul said the revelations were so deep that he couldn't even utter them.
Amen.
He said it wasn't even a word for it. Then he goes back to the Lord a third time and said, Lord, he said, take this from me. And the Lord said, I ain't taking nothing from you, but I give you my grace to sustain you through it all.
Yes.
He told the great apostle Paul that my grace is sufficient for you.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank you for your grace, God.
So don't stop asking the Lord to bail you out. Ask the Lord to give you grace to sustain you through it all.
Amen.
It's just a test. It's just a test. Y'all know what tests do? They test you to see have you learned the information. They test you. That's what they do. They test you. And hey, listen, y'all know if you flunk the test, you gotta retake it.
Yeah.
If you flunk the test, you gotta retake it.
Oh, Lord. That ain't fun.
It's simple. If you flunk the test, you gotta retake it. So you might as well pass the test so you can move on to the next test.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life is full of them. And if you flunk the test, y'all know how it is. You don't make the grades, you're gonna repeat this grade over and over.
Wow.
God is the same exact way.
Wow.
So stop asking the Lord for it to get easier. Say, Lord, make me better.
Amen.
So I can pass the test. That's all James is saying. James says, so you will be mature and complete, lacking nothing. Lacking nothing. When you pass the test, you can move on to the next test, because at every level it's a test. Okay. We ask God, hey Lord, get us to at the next level. How many of you know at the next level, my spiritual father said is that the next level is simply the bottom of that level. So you still got to go through that level.
Right. Yeah.
You still got to go through that level. Next level, know the devil. You get to the next stage, it's a test waiting on you. God said, I got to test you. I love the story of how when in Genesis, when he tells Abraham, makes Abraham a promise right in his barren situation. Y'all know the story. Sarah, she couldn't even have children. So right in the storm, I'm talking about she's right when she was barren. God makes a promise. In the middle of his situation, y'all track with it. In his situation didn't look like the promise. His situation and the promise was at complete disagreement. Made him a promise and his wife wasn't even barren. And then he makes him this promise, gives him a glimpse. He tells him that's in the covenant with Abraham. He said, I'm going to make your name great. All generations are going to be blessed through you and your descendants.
Yeah.
But his wife is barren. She can't even have children. But God makes him a promise. Shows him all these great things. That all the generations are going to be blessed through you.
Yes.
Abraham says, Lord, I don't even have children. I don't even have, Sarah can't even have children. Lord, and then even the great Abraham gets a little unwavering in his faith. He said, are you talking about Ishmael? No, Lord said, no, I'm talking about one that's coming from Sarah.
From your own loins. Yes.
From your own loins. Then God brings him back. He says, now it's a test. Now it's a test. So he begins to tell Abraham, and for the sake of time, I'm just going to briefly tell the story. So he begins to tell Abraham, hey, listen, your son by Sarah, the covenant, he says, I'm going to establish the covenant with him also. that the nations and all these generations are going to be carried out and going to be blessed through him. But here's what I'm fast forward. Here's what I need you to get right here. Here's what I need you to get. How you have to be so unwavering in your faith. And when God makes you a promise, you got to know that he is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. When he speaks, he acts. And when he makes a promise, won't he make it good?
Yes.
So he makes Abraham this promise. He said that I'm going to bless you, and all your descendants through you are going to be blessed, and I'm going to carry out the covenant through Isaac and all these things. But y'all know all throughout the story, Sarah, they have Isaac, when Abraham is about 100 and Sarah about 75, all these things, past childbearing age. But here's what I need you to get. Right when the promise is manifested, a couple years later, he tells Abraham, now I got to test you.
Yes.
Take Isaac to Mount Moriah and sacrifice him. He says, take your only begotten son, take the promised man of God, now go sacrifice him.
Yeah.
He says, the promise that I promised you, now I got to test you. So he said, take it, your son, your only begotten son, and sacrifice him. Now here's where the story gets real funny right here. Back earlier, he tells Abraham that he's going to be blessed. All the generations are going to be blessed. His seed is going to be blessed, all these things. But now he fast forward and tells Abraham to go sacrifice the promise. Because Isaac was, y'all know that Isaac was the promise, right?
Oh, yeah.
He was the promise.
Oh, yes.
But let me tell you how and I got to kick out this one, how, now this took faith. I'm talking about some unwavering faith. I'm talking about some of that faith you just got to stand firm in the belt of truth, as Ephesians 6 talks about. Putting on the whole armor of God. You just got to gird yourself up with the belt of truth.
Amen.
So Abraham takes him, sacrifice him. Isaac, on the way, Isaac says, they get there, he says, Father, I see the wood, I see the fire, but I don't see the sacrifice. And Abraham begins to say things like, the Lord will provide.
Amen. That's it.
The man of God, the Lord will provide.
Amen.
The Lord will provide.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what your situation looks like. The Lord will provide.
Yes. Yes.
The Lord will provide. So he gets to the mountaintop and Isaac says, I see the wood, I see the fire, but I don't see the sacrifice. Abraham replies with, the Lord will provide. So Abraham, the scripture says he ties him down. And he's ready to sacrifice the promise. And right in the lick of time, the angel from heaven calls out, Abraham,
Amen.
woman of God,
Amen.
I see your faithfulness.
Jesus.
Yes.
I see that you fear the Lord.
Yes,
Oh,
God.
I see that you will obey the Lord. I see that you are willing to give your all.
Come on now.
Don't lay a hand on the lad.
Amen.
And at that time, Abraham see the ram in the bush. That's when he calls, and that's when he calls on the Lord. That's when he is known as Jehovah Jireh, my provider.
Yes.
So right when they come and they take everything,
Yes.
Amen.
right when they come and take everything, Jehovah Jireh shows up.
Yes.
Jesus.
He's the provider.
Yes, Lord.
Right when they ready to cut the lights off,
Come on now.
God says, here you go. I see your faithfulness.
Amen.
I see that you fear me. I see that you're going to call on me and reverence me no matter what the situation looks like.
Yes.
I'm your provider.
Yes. Amen.
But let me take you back. You got to know that you know that you know without a shadow of a doubt.
Jesus.
Some of you are saying, Lord, that was Abraham. He was one of the patriarchs. All throughout the scripture, we hear the great testimonies about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We hear that. We said that's Abraham. He can do that. But let me tell you what Abraham stood on. Let me tell you how his faith was so unwavering. See, Abraham went back to when the Lord made him that promise about, the promise was Isaac. So listen to this. This is what I need you to get. It's no way that Isaac could have been sacrificed.
Amen. Amen.
Because the Lord said Isaac was the promise. So if the Lord had let Abraham sacrifice Isaac, the Lord would have been a lie.
Yeah.
And he can't lie.
Yeah.
He can't lie. Y'all tracking with me? See, Abraham knew the word he stood on the promise of God. God promised him 30, 40 years earlier that Isaac was the promise. And the promise was coming through his loin. And Abraham and Sarah had Isaac. So it's no way, no matter what the situation looked like, if it came to the 12th hour, at 11:59, you had to have $1,000 or $1 million. And the Lord had told you a day before or 20 years before that you was going to receive that $1 million to take care of whatever that is. At 11:59 or 59 seconds to go, if that's the case, then the Lord is going to provide.
Yes.
You just got to hold tight to the promise. You got to be unwavering in your faith.
Yes.
The Lord promised Abraham that the seed and all the generations after him was going to be blessed through Isaac.
Yes.
Isaac was the promise. So whatever the Lord has promised you, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter how close it is becoming to the time for that promise to come into manifestation.
Right now.
The Lord will provide. He will provide. The Lord will provide. It's not going to be done by your resources. It's not going to be done by your strength. The Lord said it will be done by my spirit. Is how it's going to be done. Because sometimes we don't have enough resources. Sometimes we don't have enough patience to put up with that crazy joker.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have what it takes. But according to scripture says that all things are possible with him.
Yes.
God will make up the difference. Abraham didn't have enough to carry out the promise. But God made up the difference with a little old ram.
Yes.
He's able to provide all that we need.
Yes.
We gotta hold on to the promise. No matter, your faith cannot waver.
Yes, God.
You can have your little moment very quickly.
Yeah.
But you gotta get right back to the promise. Have your moment, boo-boo cry, wipe the tears, and you gotta hold tight to the promise.
Yes, God.
It's just a test. It's just a test. It's simply just a test. Faith and doubt, they can't be in agreement. So whatever you are expecting, you got to be in agreement with the word. You got to be in agreement with the promise. It's something about when you're in agreement with the promise. That's where heaven and earth collides.
Yeah.
That's the place where heaven and earth meet up. It's when you're in agreement with the promise. When you're in agreement with the word, heaven and earth collide.
Yes, God. Thank you, Father.
God begins to say things like, I'm well pleased.
Yes.
I'm well pleased with you, son. I'm well pleased with you, daughter. Here, take this. Take this. Take this. Take this.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesus.
That's when God begins to call you a friend. When you begin to trust him.
Yes, God.
You begin to take him at his word. We just got to trust him. You just got to trust him. Your faith has to be unwavering. You can't stop building a wall.
Come on now.
You can't come down off the wall. You can't come out the presence of God
Jesus.
because doubt, or your Tobias or your Sanballat is coming talking crazy to you. You can't come down off the wall. That's in Nehemiah. You can't come down off the wall. You got to look down at the doubt and the disbelief, and you got to tell it, I am busy doing the work of the Lord. I am busy working on the promise, and I can't come down for this foolishness.
That's right. That's right.
I'm building something.
Thank you, Father.
I'm building this legacy. You can't be distracted. Look down and tell it, say, I can't be distracted by you. Did you get this is what you know spiritually out of the story of Nehemiah. You guys get this. He was a scripture says he was up. He was above the mess. He was above the doubt.
Yeah.
See, doubt has to come up to where you are, but you looking down on doubt. So don't come down for the mess. Stay in the presence of the Lord. Hold on to the promise. Because it's bigger than you. It's not about you.
That's
It's
right.
bigger than you.
That's right.
See, when God does something, He bless God doesn't just bless for one. God blesses in generations. He blessed Abraham for generations.
Generations. That's
When He allowed Nehemiah to build the wall, that just wasn't for Nehemiah. Nehemiah built the wall for the children, for Israel.
Yeah.
He was rebuilding it for them. It wasn't about him.
Yeah.
So your faith has to be unwavering, not just for you. It's for those that are connected to you.
Yes.
For those that are coming behind you.
Yes. Yes.
For your children, for your seed.
Yes, God.
Amen.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's bigger than you. It was never about you.
Wow.
So let's stop having a woe unto me parties. You get woe unto me, then snap out of it.
Amen.
Can two walk together unless they agree? Can two walk together unless they agree? Can two walk together unless they agree? Doubt and faith, they're in total disagreement. And any man who asks, if you ask in faith, with no doubt you shall receive.